are in Hadley, Massachusetts. We're going to give you a general introduction to Hadley and what we're going to be doing at Hadley during the history in the near future. Of course, you probably know that I do a lot of cemeteries, schools, and parks, and churches, and of course streets and houses. And there's no canals, so I can't do canals in Hadley, sadly. But we're looking at the Hadley Town Hall, and Hadley was settled in 1859, and the first people were already dying in 1659, and the first person was already dying in 1661, and we know where their burial is. And you can see it's a neoclassical building. It's very beautiful. They tried to make Hadley look very nice. Its population was very low until about 40 years ago, when it started booming because of all the retail stores. And if you slide a little bit in the gap, there's the Hadley Farm Museum, and that's a very interesting place to go because Hadley had loads of farms in the past. And of course, they were 300 years ago, 200 years ago, there were farmers all over the Hadley, and there were farmers that would include all the kinds of fruits and vegetables you would love to have. And about 200 years ago, they started changing over to tobacco, and there's still some of that. Now we slide over a little bit more, and here's the First Congregational Church of Hadley. It's a beautiful Protestant church denomination. Is Congregational. It's from the year 1808. It's not the first church in Hadley, though. Along the way, there was older ones that were taken down. But you can see if you look up his steeple, it's a very beautiful steeple, and painted white almost in the whole thing. It has a clock, but the clocks don't see the right time. And here they still have an active congregational, and still an active place for all of Hadley too. So you can see down Middle Street some beautiful houses. There's one beige one right there. There's white ones beyond it. Middle Street tends to have a lot of old houses. This was one of the first places settled in Hadley. So a lot of these homes are 200 years old, and there's a few homes in Hadley that are almost 300 years old. So it is a very active history within Hadley itself. All right, and we're going to turn around some more. This was the Hopkins Academy in the past. It's not anymore. It's a special school. I think it's called New Star. And beyond it is the modern Hopkins Academy. It has a name academy, but it's the public high school of Hadley. And thus, with all these special buildings here, this is always a very special location within Hadley. And if we turn around some more, you can see how commercialized it's been. And it's developed quite a bit of commerce in the last 40 years. If you look across the street, another very important building. This is the Hadley Public Library. If you go inside there, it's large enough inside to accommodate all you would expect out of a public library. I've been in there a few times. It's a good place to go. It's called the Goodwin Memorial Library. I think it's from about 1917. But each of these places will have a specific tour or video at some point. Now if you slide a little more, there's a church over there, and that street is Russell Street, probably the busiest street in Hadley, but there's many other things in Hadley. So we're going to turn back to the town hall, and I'm going to tell you there's also the Mount Holyoke Range, and that has on top of it one of the mountains, the Skinner House or the Summit House, and that's a very busy place during the summertime. And also in Hadley, you have many cemeteries. The oldest one is the Old Hadley Cemetery, very close to our location. We also have the St. Bridget Cemetery, the Holy Rosary Cemetery, and many Catholic churches and Protestant churches around. And we'll talk about all those at some point. They have other cemeteries like the Plainville Cemetery and other very small cemeteries, which will each have their own tour. And since I do so many topics, I'll cover almost everything. And unique about Hadley are these streets that are actually double streets, and a few of them I might cover with tours along the way. And if there's any special topics, those will come up at that point. But I wish you keep looking into what I developed for Hadley itself. Thank you.